Welcome, welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here on this edition of the REI Hacker Podcast. My next guests, Dominic and Angie Milinazzo. They're the creative real estate power couple. They're the owners of What's Next Realty here in Denver, Colorado. And they operate a nationwide wholesaling company that specializes in creative deal structures. Welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man. We are excited to do this, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're outshining me though with the hair, but that's all right. You got nice hair.
Well, I appreciate that. It's one of the things I've got going for me. I've been fortunate to get to know you guys the last few months better. And I was always we're running in the same circles, right? I was, kind of as a service provider fringe person in the sub 2 community. And you finally got a chance to meet you guys and hang out. We went out and had some food and a couple beers, and it was really cool to get to know you. And the more I get to know you, the more I'm impressed by what you guys have accomplished. Like it's so amazing to me how much you pour into the community, how giving you are with your time, how helpful you are, and just like the true essence of go-givers. Like, is that just you guys, or did that develop over time?
No,
that's just us.
That's us. Yeah, that's
I've
us.
always been like that.
Now we're just in a community that
gives back.
Yeah, we will. We've had some struggles. Like we'll get kind of juicy in here if you want to about our background. I don't know when you want to talk about that, but
juicy.
Like how we got here. I mean, we actually went through a divorce, Angie and I did. We haven't shared this with everybody that we've been on their podcast, so this is some good stuff for you. We went through a divorce for a period of time in 2014, about a year. And we slowly just put our lives back together. We got back together, right? But we didn't do it the business way. Like I owned a business and she was a real estate. We just kind of poured into each other, right? And it made it all about our family and just giving to our family, pouring all of our heart and soul into getting us better and all of these things that Angie and I had to work on. And then now that just pours out into the community, but we had to go through that long struggle. So when we see people go through hard times in the community and they need help, we see ourselves in them a lot. So it makes it a lot more easier for us to step in and help. Yeah. So that's kind of, what's driving it. But we've always been helpers. I mean, we have, so many friends and people that are in our lives because we just give. Yeah. We just give. But we get given back too, though. So it all works out.
Yeah.
But the divorce was hard.
Balance, right?
Yeah.
Like you want it to be a win-win. Like, and some people might think that's selfish, but you've got family, you've got multiple businesses you're running. And if you just gave, and there wasn't any respectful giving back to you, then that's not a good ROI, but it's not good for anybody, right?
Right. So that was the hard part, is the boundaries that we did not have. We didn't know how to do them. We didn't know how to give boundaries. We just give. So now we have some boundaries like, hey, we'll do this, but we won't do that. And it'll be on this day. So the biggest thing is having those boundaries for yourself, or you're right. You'll just give. And we did. And then you go home tired and things didn't work. And you're like, I'm pouring into everybody else. I'm not pouring into myself. So what I have done lately, is give into ourselves, right? I know it sounds bad, but when you give a lot, you have to have that attitude or you'll never do anything for yourself. And it's making us better because we're giving back to ourselves, giving us a little bit of time on a day here or there, doing something that we love to do. And that it allows us to have the energy to get back again because we were getting burnt out. Yeah.
And so to be clear for those listening, giving, we're not talking about donating money here. We're talking about giving time and expertise, right? So you guys are really good about help people when they have questions about maybe how to structure a deal or the best way to lead gen or, how to talk with sellers. What are some of the things that people come to you with? What are some of like the biggest questions that are kind of recurring?
Do you have any on the top of your head?
I literally have people every single day coming to me, bringing me offers or bringing me deals to go over, and help them close on their deals. So yeah, I have that all.
Well, you'll get stuff like, can I sub to a short sale? Like all that stuff doesn't make sense. And then you got to jump into it and answer it for a half hour or an hour, whatever. So everything we get, how do you get started? How do you talk to the seller? How do you do a foreclosure? And you name it, and we get that they're asking us. So it's the boundaries are important because you can only answer so much in the text or even when you talk to them. So now what we're doing is we're directing them to some of our past Zooms on YouTube. Oh, you want to know about that? Hey, we have a Zoom or we have a YouTube out there. Go to this one, or we send them that link and then they go watch that instead of us pouring all that time into them. We're still doing it. We're just not taking our time out of that day.
Right. Is there some pushback from people like thinking, oh, well, I heard you guys were givers and now you want us to do this, or
Sometimes
they're just not respectful of it.
Sometimes, and not many. And those are the ones that I have a rule now. Angie has a rule. Like, if we don't jive with you and you're going to be difficult, we just choose not to work.
Yeah, I won't work. Well, let me just say, I don't work with victims. I mean, it's harsh to say, but
we're all victims.
We're all victims,
like we've all
right? Like, I could be going through something. I'll give you a little example. So I had somebody go behind my back, and right away, instead of saying, I apologize, I'm sorry, he said, oh, this is going on, this, and that. And, but he shouldn't have gone behind my back. But now he's the victim and trying to take it away from what he'd done. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, I gave my all to you, and now you're a victim and you went behind my back. So
they filter themselves out, Benson. As soon as you hear them start to talk like that, you're like, oh, this guy's going to be a problem. Not that we don't like problems and helping people, but if they're not willing to help themselves, all they can do is just make everybody bad, make us look bad, whoever they're trying to help bad, and the deals die with those types of people. So we just know how to watch for them.
Yeah. I don't know how to filter them out in a sense.
Yeah, like you said, they filter themselves out too. I've done that with some of my people, where like I'll give them a task and I'll be like, hey, go and do these things, and then let's meet next week, schedule something on my calendar, and then we'll take it to the next step. And more than half the time, you never hear from them again.
Yeah,
they just fall off, right?
Yep.
So like, it's a really good way of just filtering people out and working with people who are actually going to execute and follow through, and just by giving them small little homework assignments.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, just give them something and see what they're going to do with it. But now, because of how many people reach out to us, we have to do what we said. We have to send them those links so they can look through the videos, and we have to spend more time with Benson. Because I know, Benson, I know what you're doing. I know you're a mover, you're a shaker, you're doing things. I know your integrity, all of those things. And us, with the position we're in, we need to spend more time with people like yourself. And that's who we give the one-on-ones to now. Yeah. Not that I won't help newbies. I love newbies because I was there. But we don't have enough bandwidth to help them all individually. They have to come in flocks or go to those Zooms that we have, the videos that are
right. Have you thought about monetizing that in any way, like hourly rates or small group? Like, I
have.
Where they pay monthly just to be
so
part of the group.
We've thought about that. It's just there's a whole bunch. So we are coming out with they're free classes, but they'll morph into more with people wanting more. For like sellers, all the way down to the actual seller. So holding a course to teach them how we sell homes, how we do that. They'll come and, a lot of people want to sell on their own, but they probably won't once they see how much. Oh my gosh, there's a lot. It's not just, sign a contract, put a sign in and done. So we're gonna teach those courses for free, and maybe that will lead into monetizing it in a larger course that goes more in depth. We're also doing workshops for agents, right? So that they can see what they can do with creative finance, because how the world is right now, it just gives them another bullet in their gun. So there's a couple ways that we're trying to monetize with that. But we're open for suggestions, man. When you see something that you think, hey, they'd be good at this, you guys should do that. Yeah, we're open for that. But that is coming. We have the courses pre-written, and we just have to break them and go through them and make sure that they all jive. And then we're going to launch it probably in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll run a few ads too on Facebook. That's where we're going to run it to let people know.
I bet you school would be a good platform to launch that on. Yeah. A good place to store the content and, track the engagement, and then getting people into a free community there, where they're all there and they have to register. And you have their information, email, phone number, right? So that you can stay in contact with them. But then they have the ability to have another paid group, right? Where you can charge them a small monthly fee, right? And about weeding people out too, right? Like, even if you charge like $9.99 a month, like that's not a lot of money, but you're going to weed out the people who just aren't willing to pay anything, right? If they're not willing
Right.
to pay a little bit just to be part of the community, they're not going to take the community seriously.
Right.
Yeah, which $9.99 a month, that's worth it to learn what we've
What,
learned.
99 bucks a month or
$9.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just put a number out there, right? But it's
Right.
like,
But I mean, if you put a number to it and you think, oh God, the value that you're going to get is worth every penny.
Oh my gosh. Well, we had to sign up. Well, we had to go through years and years and years of learning it, sign up with, sub 2, go through all that and countless others I won't mention to learn what we know now. And when I say countless others that we won't mention, we learn what not to do in some of the other ones and what we don't want. That's the hardest part is what you don't want because everything looks good. All the menu looks good. But when you buy that, you're like, oh, that didn't taste good. It was too expensive. I got nothing from it. So that's how we've been doing things. And it's our history and it's our knowledge from way back when that we have to give to these people. So yeah, that would be a cheap amount of money to spend each month. I just spent $250 on a little mini course that I did last week.
yeah,
$250. The week before that, it was a $90. Week before, like I spend money on that all the time.
Right.
So people that are movers and shakers and really want to do something, they'll spend the money. The other ones will drop off.
We will for the education. Definitely.
yeah.
Now it's tight. I don't know if people know this or not, but showings aren't where they were. Houses aren't flying off the shelf. They're not giving $20,000, $30,000 over. The new NAR thing came out with who pays what, how you get paid, all the transparency stuff, and everybody's confused, which is not that confusing, but it's going to make a lot of people confused. So there's all this turmoil going on. So now is the time to get ahead and learn some things and hit your wagons with people who are doing other things that what you're doing. So you're not left in the cold when this economy really, I think it's going to tank a little bit, man. I really do. I don't think it's going to keep going like it is.
Yeah. I think you're probably right too. I mean, there's a lot of things that are coming to a head.
I don't think we're going to go 2008 style, but
no depression, but certainly a kind of recession.
Right.
We saw that a few weeks ago in the stock market when it dropped several thousand points in minutes, it seemed. And so then you look at like all the commercial real estate, all these vacant buildings, right?
Right.
And all these loans that are non-performing, like that stuff's going to start to trickle down and the banks are going to have issues. And I mean, who knows what's going to happen, but there's a lot of things that are adding up from all different industries and it all affects the, gross domestic product.
Yeah.
And it's all related.
Yeah. That's why now's the time that you need to put your education time in and learn these things so you can do different stuff during the time. It's no longer, everybody's buying a house. It's the American dream. As a real estate agent, everybody's wholesaling. It's tighter. You got to know what you're doing. Not everybody gets the deal. You got to be savvy and you got to know what you're doing. And people are looking into people more and not just trusting them. So you got to have your shit together or you're not going to thrive in this economy.
Right. And I really want to help agents. They don't have to learn creative finance. But what I do want them to know is that there is another tool in their pocket and send it our way for them to still get paid, right? You don't want to learn it? Great. You don't have to.
Yeah, some don't want to learn it, right? They're just
another tool.
They love retail and that's what they do. And that's fine, right?
But there's a lot of them struggling to sell their listings. And, they're like, well, what do we do? So for instance, I've talked to like over 10 agents in the past week and every single one is like, oh my gosh, I've got this client. I've got that client. I could bring you this client. It's like now we're under contract on a couple of them just because I just talked to them about it and showed them like, hey, look, had I not started this, I would have had to go get a job. Honestly.
It's really interesting because creative is like the crossover from the investment world to the retail world.
Right. Yeah.
Right? It's been so delineated for years where if you were an investor friendly agent, like you just did things one way. And it's still my strong belief that that's the best way for an agent who's trying to figure out how to earn their commissions is by working with investors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because investors, it's a transactional type business. They understand that an agent can bring value, and especially if that agent knows how to run their numbers, they know how to identify deals, and they're bringing value to the table. it's going to be easier to say, okay, well, my price is 2% or whatever it is. And an investor will pay that as long as it makes sense number wise, right?
Right.
On the retail side, it's harder to convince, let's say, a first-time home buyer that they got to pay out of pocket when they can barely even afford to pay the 3.5% that they need to pay for an FHA loan down payment.
Right. That's going to be the hard part. It's just going to be a negotiation war. You're just going to have to know how to negotiate and prepare your client in advance, your buyer. Okay, here's what's going to happen. And there's going to be a lot of times where you want this much, but you tell them, if it doesn't work out, I won't hold you to this much, because you have to sign a contract saying it's 3%. That's what you're going to pay me. If they're not paying it, you pay it. Or if they're paying 2, you pay me 3. So you're going to have that in your contract, because if you don't, and you go, I'll go 2, and then they're given 3, you don't get the 3.
Right.
So you're going to have to prepare your clients to say, hey, if it comes down to you can't get the house, and I can't get my, if I'm getting my amount that I want, the 3%, you can't get the house, I'll deduct. I won't hold you to that. But that's a hard conversation to have, because how do they know? People sign something going, what do you mean? How do I know you're going to uphold your end of the bargain? So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Or we could seller or sub to it. Seller finance our commission.
We'll seller finance you our commission. Yeah, you make a
little note. Hey, here, pay me back monthly.
Well, really, didn't they do? What was that loan in 2000?
Oh, right, yeah.
Where they were doing that, the banks were.
The seller was seller financing their down payment.
Right.
Back in 08.
Right.
Oh, Chaffa?
Yeah, but it was a different program, and it was through the banks were doing it.
Right.
Yeah. But they were allowing the sellers to do that. But I don't think we'll see that. But who knows? Another MLS, they said, we're not going to do what the NAR said. Forget you. We're not part of you. There's other lawsuits going out. The attorneys that filed for that lawsuit, they want more money now for they're saying they had 1,500 hours. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh, wow.
There's agents wanting to sue NAR. There's other attorney. I mean, it's like the Wild West. It's a mess. It's a mess, and it's all in the name of transparency to the client, or to the the consumer, which is creating just more havoc, in my opinion.
So earlier I mentioned that I feel like creative finance is like the bridge between the retail world and the real estate investing world. And I think it could be important for our audience to kind of break that down for them. And just so the problem is that there's a lot of houses that are on the market where they have an inflated expectation of what their house is worth, right? So let's say they list it for 500 grand, put on the market, it sits, right? It doesn't sell for 3 weeks, a month. And they do what they would normally do. They start to do systematic price reductions, right? We lower it 5,000, 10,000. And, the agent's trying to get them to lower the price to meet the market. But an investor can come along and use creative deal structure to give the seller what they want, the price they want, as long as they get the terms that they want, right? Can you guys explain that more for the average person who maybe doesn't understand creative? Like, what's that all about?
Let's take one scenario, because there's a whole bunch of different ways, because creative is creative, whatever. Let's take a home that has no equity or low equity. They have to sell for whatever reason. Let's just pretend it is a good reason. They have to sell. They're trying to sell the home. They can't. They're doing the price reductions, whatever. And now they're at a point where if they do sell, now they're going to write a check. They're going to have to come out of pocket. They're not going to make money off their home. So in that scenario, we would come in and say, hey, let us take over your loan, $3,000 a month, whatever it is. We'll give you a little bit of money. You're not going to make any money. You're going to cut a $40,000 check, or we can give you a $5,000 check. Which one do you want, right? So we come in there, we buy it either for a long-term rental. Let's say that the payments make sense that we get into it for. We give him $5,000. We pay the agent her commission or his commission, whatever it is. And then we get in there, we do a long-term rental, right? So we're making the payments to the mortgage company. We didn't assume it. We're making the payments, $3,000, and we're charging $3,200 on rent. Let's just pretend. Now we're making $200 on that rent. Now, in the case where we can't charge enough for rent because the payment is higher, the monthly is higher, well, what we do there, it's not forgotten property and lost opportunity. We would turn around and find an end buyer for that can't typically get qualified for a traditional loan, but has the means to pay it back. Maybe their credit's bad. Maybe they're self-employed, right? So they take their money a different way. So when they go to do their taxes, it looks way different than when somebody who's employed, but they definitely have the money. We would find them and get them into the house, and then they would live in it. They'd be homestead buyers. So we
What
can
is
either,
that called? What is that? Is there a name for that
so
strategy?
it's called a wrap, right? So we take
The seller finance wrap.
their existing mortgage, and we would typically mark that up. Maybe if it's at a 3%, we go to 5%, whatever it'll bear. And then we turn around, and then their payment may have went from 2,500 to 2,800, and we make that difference.
The spread.
The 300 from the 2,500.
So there's potentially some upfront cash.
There is
a
upfront
down
cash.
payment, and then
There's a lot,
monthly as well.
Yep.
It's just like a regular closing, just we're the bank.
Right. But there is upfront cash, right?
Well,
So
you're the
it's
secondary bank, right? Because there is
We're seller financing it. And that
place.
means, so we're wrapping it, but we're seller financing it because now we bought it creatively, subject to the existing loan. And then I found an end buyer, and now I'm going to seller finance it to that end buyer. And I'm going to wrap the loan that I bought and make a whole nother loan to that end buyer. So if I bought it at
seller finance now,
yes,
not the original owner, they're out of the picture.
they're out of the picture.
They're out. They took their money. They're out.
Yep.
There's a chance that they could have seller finance too, right? So it could be subject to as well as seller finance in the first transaction, but now you own the house.
Yep.
Right.
And then you can seller finance and wrap that original loan or series of loans, 2 loans together, and sell it to somebody else who can maybe pay a little bit higher rate, but it could still be lower than what today's rates are.
Right.
We typically try to make it that way. Right. Now, if the percentage on that loan is higher, then it may be a thing where we don't wrap it at all. And the only way to get rid of it is to have an end buyer come in and actually they just take over exactly what the payments are. We make a little spread, on their entry when they put the down payment. There's those opportunities. That way the seller can still sell their house and the buyer can still get a house. And then we just step out of it. Then the buyer and the seller are they're introduced to each other and they know each other because that buyer is going to need to make those payments. They might have to be into communication with each other, but we've done that too. Whatever it takes to get the house sold for the homeowner, that's what it is. Because if you're not solving that problem, then there's nothing for us to do. We have to solve that problem.
Right.
Yeah. Very interesting. So I think it's just a big problem solving tool that people can put in their toolbox. And, for those agents out there that are open to it, like you should definitely connect with Dawn and Angie, because they could, help you get up to speed on how that works, because there's a good chance you have a client that just won't budge on their price, even if they have the room. No, my family grew up here. We've got all these, emotional attachments to the property.
Yeah.
They have a price in their mind that is irrational, and you can still make those deals work as long as you can make the numbers work on the back end through some other creative.
And now usually when they just want more because they want more, they have that equity. So let's say they have $200,000 in equity. It's a $500,000 home. They have a $300,000 note, right? They have a $300,000 mortgage. We would seller finance. We would subject to the first one, the $300,000, and seller finance the $200,000. So there would be the payment on the initial one and the payment on the second. It would be called a hybrid. So you can still do those, but you're right. When you're doing those, it's usually the owner going, I know what I have and I know what I can get and I know what it's worth. Okay, great. We can't give you $500,000 because we'd have to go get a 7-8% loan right now, all that stuff. But we can give you $500,000 if you allow us these terms on your equity. Take over your current mortgage and give us these terms on your equity. Sometimes they want a large amount down. Sometimes they don't want. It just depends on where they're.
Does that work typically with a certain kind of seller? Like, just based off of your experience, like regular homeowners or owner occupants, or, is it better for investors who they're used to cash flow, right? So they don't mind becoming the bank, right? They probably don't have, and maybe they do, but they're not going to have a capital gains sort of issue if they do like a seller finance situation, because they're getting their payments over time.
Right.
So have you seen that where it works better for one group of people than another?
It's really, anybody anybody in that kind of situation, like veterans, they get restationed to another location. They got to sell. Like, I bought this and I have no equity. I got to sell. It works for them. It could be somebody who's not getting the amount of money they want because they want to go and put it in another vehicle, right? Another asset, right? I want to take this money here, Dom, and I want to put in this asset. Do you have the asset? No. You're going to have to find it.
Keep it in here, I tell them.
Keep it in here. Right?
Invest in your own property.
Keep it in your own property. You're not going through all of these fees and all of these things and bound by the 1031 exchange and all that kind of stuff. So just leave it in here. So it really is, divorced couples sometimes do it. Estates, where the everybody's everywhere and they're like, we got to get rid of this property. How do we do it? Oh, we can't go through this whole big process. We're upside down, whatever that looks like. All the above, as long as the numbers make sense in their situation. When people say, who would do that? Life happens. I just mentioned a couple of different ways that it happens. Life happens to people and not everybody knows what happens, right? And that's when these type of creative, finance deals work. It's just when life happens and the numbers don't work traditionally. Because if they work traditionally and you need all that, sell it. Be done with it.
Yeah, like we're not going after people who don't.
We're not convincing.
Not having problems.
Yeah.
We literally just go after sellers that are having problems to help solve those problems. And the creative finance happens to be the best solution for them most of the time.
Yeah, no convincing, man. We show you the numbers. The biggest thing is people don't understand, and some people have told them these things and maybe incorrectly, so they're scared. So as long as you put everything together in the right way, then it's fine. That's why we partner with people, because if you're starting this and you're like, hey, let me take over your loan, and what are you talking about? If you're not established, they're not going to talk to you. I mean, or it's going to get, the deal's going to go south in the middle of it. So having 3 years of creative finance under our belt and, decades of real estate under our belt really helps with the credibility. And, the people that we've done this work with, the testimonials, that all helps, because it definitely is a learning curve for them to understand that creative finance when you offer it.
Yeah, because when creative finance, when I first met Pace, I was like, oh my gosh, Dom, back in 06, 07, 08, I was like, oh, we could have done this for every person.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could have.
But it's all about solving problems. That's what we go by reps.
Problem solvers.
What's the problem? If there's one to solve, maybe I have a right tool. Maybe that's all it's about. Yeah.
So if you're having problems, we'll solve
it. Yeah, like Vanilla Ice said.
Yeah.
In your rap, you'll solve it.
Yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind. So can we do like a little role play? I'm curious how a seller would hear it, right? So like, let's say I'm the seller and don't feel like you have to reveal any secrets, or I'm not sure how protected.
We're not the callers anyway. So we'll just give you the.
But I call sometimes. I call, like I have a buyer right now who wants only.
Let him role play.
But I was going to say I could role play with you how I role play when I make my calls for her. I call these sellers and I say, hi, Betsy.
Well, let's intro it. What are you looking for? She's looking for.
I'm looking for a investment property, but really I'm looking for either a wrap, to do a co-living, to have nurses be in there. So I'm calling just to get a feel for the seller, where he's at in his selling process.
So my property has been on the market for like 6 months, a couple price reductions, but nothing in the last 60 days. It's basically just been sitting there. And so you're looking on there and you're probably looking for high days on market when you're filtering.
Yep.
And then
low equity, high days on market.
Yep.
Low
for
equity,
that
high days on
specific
market.
one. Yeah, for that specific type of deal. But there's so many different other filters that we could run. But this one that you're talking about is, we have an end buyer.
Yes, have an end buyer
in the house.
Yes.
And they're saying, I don't want to go get a loan because they don't want to. They have cash to put down, all that kind of stuff. So Angie's calling people up and saying, hey,
agents.
Yes, calling on market deals and saying, hey, you don't start off the conversation. I see your house has been on for 80 days, man. What's wrong with it?
I just call and I say, hi, my name is Angie. I'm with Next Realty. I am an investor as well. And I buy properties every single month. I have about 2 or 3 that I'm buying this month. And what I do with them is I will either wrap the property, and then I explain, how I do a wrap. And then they just get real curious. Like, oh, okay. Or, if it's close to a hospital, I'll do it, for nurses. And then they'll start telling me about the house, right? Well, yeah, my seller says this or that, but I just build that relationship with them. Mm-hmm. And I'm the buyer. And so I know where the house is going, because I'm calling specific homes, and then I build that relationship with that agent. And then that agent, at the end of the conversation, she's wanting to send me other deals.
Mhm.
You're solving her problem.
Yeah.
You're solving the homeowner's
She's
problem.
like, I got another listing over here that this would work great for. Boom. There's another one.
So what's
you're
the
solving
biggest
those problems.
objection you get from an agent?
It's illegal.
It's illegal. That's what they think.
Right off the bat. That's would you say that's the biggest?
Yeah.
And then it's
That used
illegal.
to
And then
be
if it's not
illegal.
illegal, it's, oh, my clients don't want to be responsible for that for this whole time.
Mm.
They're buying another home. They need that to buy another home.
So why isn't it illegal?
It's not illegal. We have, what do we have?
Well, you can go to the IRS website and you can.
And it's actually
search
on, I mean, if you go
subject
to like the VA, if you go to, is it the VA and the FHA, the actual loans,
Mhm.
it said, it has a line in there. We have those. We have a frequently asked questions and we show them the statutes, the laws, all that kind of stuff going through those things.
where they can go look
Where
for
they
it.
can go look for that. And it's actually in those contracts. So it's not illegal. 100% not. It's just scary because people don't know it. And you have to know what you're doing. Just like a real estate agent, when they say somebody's trying to sell a house, the homeowner, they don't know what they're doing. It's not illegal, but it's risky, right?
Right.
Because they don't know what they're doing. But it's not as risky for the agent because the agent knows what they're doing. And they've done it before. And they have the resources, they have the attorneys, they have the title, they have the paperwork, and they know how to have the conversation. So it's not as risky because they know what to do. So same thing on the side. It's not as risky. But those are the objections all the time.
Yeah, probably the biggest one. And you're not talking to the seller because you're typically going through agents, but you did mention foreclosures, right? Which is something I'm very interested in. I want to talk to you guys more about that offline.
Okay.
So that would be maybe direct to seller type conversations, right?
Mhm.
Maybe
Yeah.
they're not listed yet,
Definitely.
but
Mhm.
very similar conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would rather deal directly with the seller. We would never cut an agent out, right? We'd always pay the agent. But if we're just going through the agent to the seller, it's usually pretty difficult to get that deal done because it's secondhand. He or she, the agent, doesn't know how to explain it like we do. So in that case, we build a rapport with the agent. Then we say, hey, here's how the best way to get this deal done would be for us to chat with the sellers directly. We wouldn't cut them out, but we found it's always better when we do that, for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And foreclosures are good. We help a lot of people, avoid a foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on right now. We help them, we can't always let them stay in the house, but we can almost always, if they give us the time, help them stop that foreclosure so they can, get some money in their pocket, sell it or whatever it looks like, but not have that foreclosure on that.
Right.
Because it's where they're going to rent. When you have bankruptcies and foreclosures and all that, you go to rent, that hits you, right? And then your options of renting, are narrow.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we help a lot of people with foreclosure.
Yeah, and the laws are different everywhere,
Mhm.
and they change all the time too. I remember way back in like 2005, 6, 7, I was doing a lot of foreclosures, knocking on a lot of doors, and it's a really good approach because people need help, right? They need
Yes.
help, and so there's always a win-win that can be found where an investor can still make some money, the homeowner gets out of the situation maybe with some money in their pocket. There's a reason why they didn't list it on the MLS, right? Because they typically didn't have equity, right? So they could afford to pay off the mortgage and pay an agent and inspections and all the stuff that comes with it. So there's this big misconception out there that people in foreclosure are getting taken advantage of, right? But
I'm sure there are.
It happens, right? But there's unscrupulous people in every industry.
I can tell you, we've probably been taken advantage of by so many sellers, consumers, more than anything, because they kind of run the show, right? They can do whatever they want, but we cannot, and we wouldn't anyway, even if we could. Our integrity is the utmost. But yeah, there are some people doing that, but I think for the most part, people are out there to help, right? A lot of people are out there going, "I'm going to get a cheap house." That's not what we're looking for. I mean, we want to get you the most money in your pocket, but we have to be able to sell the home. We have to be able, maybe there's fix up. Who knows what there is? A lot of times they're not financeable, right? The water's not working properly. There's leaks. There's this. There's that. There's all these things happen, and so you just got to take all that into one bucket and say, okay, how much is the most that they can earn with us still having to do all these things and still be able to sell this thing on the market, or keep it and do something with it. But we don't set out to keep their house. We set out to save their house. That's the first thing. You have family that you can borrow from. Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do a loan model? Can you do all of these things to keep your home? Most of them are like, I'm at a point where I'm done. I got to get out of here. I'm sinking. I'm drowning. I'm underwater. How do you get us out of this mess? I have all these people calling us and talking to us, and this person saying this person saying that, and a lot of them don't know what they're doing just because everybody wants to be in real estate these days, right? So when they find somebody that knows what they're doing, that they trust, that they can get testimonials from, they latch onto that person and just say, "Hey, help me."
Yeah. Do you think that you guys going in as a team, as a married, partnership, that helps with your credibility and for people to trust you more than if you just went in there like solo or as a business?
Yeah, 100%. That's why our ads are Dom and Angie. It's not pro reps, right? It's Dom and Angie. That's how all our ads go out. So they can see us. They could go look up our Facebook or Instagram, go, oh, they're real people. Oh, they're like us, instead of just some BlackRock or whatever they have in their mind that's coming in, that we're real human beings. So yeah, that helps us with our credibility. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine that's helped in a lot of things. I mean, you went back to 2014 to explain how getting back together entrepreneurially has really helped the marriage to flourish. Where else has that affected you guys as far as, being a team and just kind of pushing this thing forward?
Affected us negatively or positively?
Positively.
Well, just to spread the love. Well, there's two ways. One, it hurts us because we're all doing like maybe sometimes the same thing because that's who we are. But it saved us because we have the resources. Like when we meet with people, or we're competing against somebody, there's one person over here and there's 6 of us over here, or whatever we have right now. And we tell them that, hey, we have a whole team behind us. So when Angie's at the doctor and somebody's got to call that bank to postpone this foreclosure, or they got to call the bank for whatever, we have people that do that. So we rely on our team and we sell that because it's true. We have a whole team behind us, and we're able to give you that attention that you deserve.
Yeah, but you guys are relatable because of the whole couple aspect of it. Like I almost want to go. I don't have a girlfriend right now. I just want to go like find like a fake girlfriend and just like put her on some business cards.
I think you can find one on Fiverr.
Fiverr?
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Also,
I don't know if they have that on Fiverr or not. I've used Fiverr a lot, but I haven't searched.
Angie's the connector.
I am. I've connected quite a few people.
Yeah, she's definitely the connector. It has helped. Yeah, you know what it's helped too is we develop relationships with other couples that are doing the same thing.
Or we've helped a lot of divorced couples.
Oh,
like I work with the wife and he works with the husband.
Yeah.
And
are you guys gonna be part of that group that Pace is putting together in Boston for the married group?
Yeah. Yeah, we want to. Yeah. Yeah. That's how it goes down though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because and then they'll ask questions like, well, how did you get back? Or,
Yeah. Some of them are like, oh, or some of them are like, oh God, never would I do that.
Yeah.
But it does help us being a couple.
Yeah.
It does help. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Unless she had, one of us had this killer paying job and then all of our business here was just play money, right? So all of our eggs are in one basket for sure.
Yeah.
So that's the harder part. So every source of refuge has its pain or has it whatever, however it goes. Yeah, that's what it is. We're a couple, but all our eggs are in one basket. Yeah. So we have to perform. That's what I tell people too. I'm like, we have to do this. We're going to be here tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. This is what we're doing. This is what we do. 51.
Do it full time.
We're not going anywhere. So there's people that fly by night. They're here for a couple months or a couple of years, but yeah, we've been in it since 2006, so we're not going anywhere.
I've never seen you guys argue or say anything. No little sneers or snippets here and there, but you live together, you work together. Like, does sometimes it just go wrong? Like one day where you're like, man, we need some time. Like I'm going to work in this office. You work over here.
Yeah. Yeah. That happens. Or I got to go, like, I'll just have a whole day where I'm out. I don't talk to anybody or she will, whatever. Yeah. We have to do that. We do. We're not perfect.
But we just have to communicate.
Yeah. We just say, hey, I need
I'm irritated today. But
we give each other the benefit of the doubt. That's like when you're working with sellers that don't trust you or people that don't trust you. Every little thing you do, always 10 minutes late. Oh, this guy. But if you trust him and you give the benefit of the doubt, oh, he's great. He's 10 minutes late. He probably has a good reason, or, that's the way it is. So we give each other the benefit of the doubt. If somebody's having a bad day, or something's going wrong, we don't, hold that over each other's head, because we're not at that point. We're not frustrated with each other, every little thing. We're way down here. We're not frustrated. So just given the benefit of the doubt to your spouse that they're doing the right thing, and that looking at them like, I need to help them, not what are they doing to me? Like, what can I do for them? And if you're both thinking that way, you're always doing stuff for each other, trying to help each other out.
Right.
No resentment. I guess it's the resentment that you can't have in you. And that's the biggest thing. I won't laugh at. Like, even if you messed up, I just laugh. Angie, goofball. You'll laugh at me. Don, what are you doing? You won't go, idiot. Why would you do that? Like, no, we don't.
And also egos too, right? Like, we've got egos. And so sometimes people let their egos get in the way, and they got to protect that ego, right? So they have to lash out or get back, get revenge, be spiteful. Like, since you guys have been through the ringer, like, you've already done all of that. Like, now you're operating at peak efficiency in business and in life.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly right. People say, I'd never get back. Like, really? Well, now we know each other way better. I would have had to start over. She'd start over and not know. Like, we know. We just had to communicate more. We had to be on the same page. We had to let everything else is secondary. Even our kids. I know this sounds weird, but we came first. We came first, meaning our date nights came first. And the kids weren't, they weren't babies, but they were still in high school, middle school, and elementary. And, we went to our meetings to better ourselves, to learn ourselves, a therapy group, couples, all of these things. And that took precedence over everything. It was not like that before. And I think people use the kids as a crutch. Well, kids come first, so they avoid dealing with the spouse stuff, when the spouse should come first. Otherwise, the kids aren't. So have your spouse come first, then the kids will be great. Yeah. Don't ignore your kids, though.
Right. You got to balance it.
Yeah.
Then those couples that did use the kids as a crutch, right? 18 happens, kids are out, they go to college, and then divorce, right? Divorce papers. All right. It's time to split it up. Let's move on.
Right. Spending time with each other to really know each other. Because, we got together young. We had babies at 25 and all that. That's young, in my opinion. And then we just went right to life. Baby, work. All these different directions. And we just got out of high school a few years before that, really, basically. Yeah. Right. So we didn't have time to grow and know each other. Life set in, too much work this way and that way. So getting to know each other has been the biggest part of us not fighting and having the same goal, the business. Right. So we're left on an island. It's just her and I. Make this work. You got to get these sales. You got to get these things going. And catastrophes are going to happen. All this stuff's going to happen. But we stayed true to each other. So we're able to get through those, and it built us. It's like, kind of like I just said, somebody drops you and you may hate your wife. You guys may be ready for a divorce, but if they dropped just you and her off in an island and said, survive, you'd stop hating her real fast or you'd die. Yep. And then you'd be forced to learn each other. Okay, we got to go get food now. We got to go along. We got to build a shelter. We got to do these things. We got to work together. We got to communicate. That's what the business has done for us. It's made us do that. And we didn't start it with big monies and all that kind of stuff. So freaking difficult to do. It was really hard, but we did it together, and it kept us stronger. And it shaped us. It's really been the backbone of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can imagine too, like that support system that's there for you guys. Like when you do have a bad day and everything's falling apart, right? It's like really easy to turn to the next person and be like, man, like this isn't working out. And then getting pessimistic, and the other person's like, no, like we don't do that here.
We do that.
We do that.
Each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's times you're like, oh man, blow everything up. This is just too much. And then she's there to go, no. Or she'll say it. And I'll go, no, all we got to do is just get through this period, whatever. So yeah, that is very helpful to have that person. A necessity almost. Because if both of you are doing it, and you know what's funny is if I'm doing it and she even felt like that, she'll not. Or if she's doing it, I'll know, like, we can't both be complaining or scared or at the same time. One of us has to be, have our head on straight. Mm-hmm. So we just take turns. And sometimes it's 10 in a row for her, sometimes it's 10 in a row for me, or we alternate. It just depends on what the situation is.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But we fight. Not fight, but we disagree. We don't really argue.
We'll disagree.
Yeah, we just disagree. We don't really argue.
What do you think is the biggest point of contention between you guys? Like, if something comes up, you guys just know it is going to be a little bit of a disagreement about
going to eat. Like, I don't want to eat that. Okay.
We had that last week. Oh,
well,
we can make that at home.
I tell them, I only go there because you like it.
And I
Not
didn't say,
because I like
I don't know. So we find one thing we like on the menu. And then you know what the bigger thing is, not food, like in all reality, like to be real, is because Angie's brain is like works so fast. She's like everywhere. She has all these thoughts and all these things, and we can't put them all together at once, and her brain just goes off, man. I have 3 screens. She has 3 screens that she uses. I mean, she is just hauling ass, right? She knows her everything, right? On her computer, all these things, and then all these business ideas. I'm like, wait. We can't do everything at once. And that's really the only thing that we argue. I'm like, we can't do everything. That's really
I'm like, I came up with that.
I'm like, all right, let's do everything. Let's do that. And I tell her, why don't we start doing this too? And I'm like, take some obscure thing that we don't do. We should start doing that tomorrow.
Yeah.
You guys have a pretty big office. You could start a Pilates studio in there.
Yeah.
Hey, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good.
I got ideas too.
Let's go.
I'll take all the ideas.
Come on.
That's why we're in this community. So we can bounce ideas off each other.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and it does help. I tell people, when you come in, gosh, you have deals and you need them underwritten, bring them here. We'll help you.
We allow that. We have people in the community come in.
It helps being around all of us because we throw each other's ideas amongst each other. And it's like, oh, that was a good idea. Instead of just my own idea and then trying to search for it.
Don't you get to see, so everybody's doing something, right? In the office, everybody has a deal going on, whatever. So you get to see, you get 10 looks because they're doing a few deals. Instead of just you doing your own deal, and you get 1 look and that's your experience. But because we update, we do videos, all that kind of stuff with each other. We know what everybody's doing. We get to look at 5 deals Dylan's doing, 5 deals Joey's doing, 5 deals Austin's doing, and see what's at end mine. So there's a whole bunch of deals that we're getting to see at one time. So our experience is exponential at that point.
Right.
And when people come in, they get the same thing. They get to see other deals happening.
Yeah, I like that. It's almost like you guys are always doing a mastermind, like constantly all day, all the time.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
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 We kind of are.
It feels like that. We just had one.
Yeah.
Caroline and Marlon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here. 2 days ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday.
2 days ago.
2 days ago. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it was good to see those guys. I met Marlon once a few years back at Pace and Jamil's launch party for the new season of Triple Digit Flip in Phoenix. And that's where we connected. And I was on his podcast, but I hadn't seen him in person for years. So it was good to see him. And of course, Caroline, she's Caroline, always doing the thing.
She's the enforcer. I'm like, get him.
Tell
Tell him to be quiet. So, yeah, she's the enforcer.
I love
it. Yeah, she scares me sometimes. And she goes, "Ooh, I'll do it. You want me to start cleaning? I'll start cleaning whatever you say."
So what's next for you guys? Like, you've got so much experience and you've been giving back so much to the community, and we've got Owners Club and we're doing some cool stuff, right? What do you see on the horizon as, like, what are you going to do to scale up? Are you going to grow your business more? Are you going to tap into some different markets, maybe do some new strategies, buy some businesses?
Yeah, we're actually reducing our markets probably. I mean, we still could. We've had the benefit of doing business in a lot of states across the country. We've learned a lot of resources, learned a lot of things, but we're narrowing that down. So right now, our latest is foreclosures and pre-foreclosures in Colorado and western side or eastern side, right? Front Range.
Mm-hmm.
That's our big push. So we're going to concentrate. Now, we're not going to let go of everything else, but our guys are going to concentrate on pre-foreclosures and build that as a machine. That way we just become, absolute experts in it because we do 20 a month or whatever it is. That's the goal for the wholesale side. We'll still do other wholesaling, but it's cash, a lot more cash than creative. Creative only when it matters, because right now we do creative on everything. We find the creatives. Mm-hmm. Next, we'll find the cash, foreclosures and put creative in when we need it. So the wholesale business will be running, which it is now, but it'll be on steroids. And that will allow Angie and I to go find another asset class that we want to invest in, larger than just a single family home. I think we're settling on RV parks or mobile home, or might be both.
Mm.
But eventually, after we perfect the foreclosure, we perfect whatever asset that we want to be in, then it's purchasing businesses.
Yeah,
we want to do. Yep, eventually. Mm-hmm. That's my ultimate. Yep, and all the businesses that feed off each other, right? So, plumbing company, property management, you need plumbers, you need this, you need landscape, you need all of these different things. So that is the ultimate goal to do. Yep. Then we can give back a whole hell of a lot more too than we do. We can give more money back than just our time. And I think giving money back changes things. You can give your time all you want, which is great. Most people have time. They don't have money. Most people have money. They don't have time. But giving money to your community changes things. If you can go outfit a whole wrestling squad, all their uniforms and all their travel fees and all that, that's a huge difference for them. And it doesn't even cost that much. But if you can go do that, that changes your community, right? Yep. That's what we want to do ultimately. I picked wrestling because that's the only sport that matters. Soccer don't matter. She was a soccer person.
Uh-oh. Found a point of contention here. This is like an inside joke, right? Soccer versus
I hope
wrestling.
you don't kick me.
Well, he told my boys when they were little, you don't play soccer. You can't play soccer. I was like,
I didn't know something.
No, I was a soccer player.
I should have had him play soccer. But I had him in wrestling since they were 3.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking, but they worked out.
It's all good.
That's all.
And they work with you too, right? Don't you have your kids in the business?
Our kids do. Yeah, they all work out. Our youngest, our 18-year-old girl, she's not yet trying to figure out what she wants to do, but Joey and Tony, who are our boys, they work with us. And our team consists of their buddies, really.
We're like their parents. They all call us mom and dad.
Austin grew up with them. Dylan, they all grew up together. So we have a solid team, and they're working hard towards one goal. Oh, yes, we are blessed. Yeah. We don't have to, we're not losing team members all the time. No. Which a lot of people do because people come and go. We have a good culture. We're going towards the same goal, and we have great people.
And we have fun.
We have fun. Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
We have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, that's the goal. You can't be at work and be miserable.
That's my goal. I always have fun.
If you got to go to work and you're miserable, don't go to work. Find a good job.
Yeah, find another job.
Find another job.
That's not how we grew up, though. Go to work and eat that crap sandwich. That's how we grew up, but that's not how I used to be like that. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So big things for us in the future.
Well, I'm excited for you. I'm really excited for the next stage of how you guys are going to develop. And it's so cool, everything you guys have done for the community. And I'm really happy you guys spent some time with my audience to kind of just talk about what you're working on. Love the seller finance stuff, the creative finance stuff. If you guys are in Colorado, or maybe even other markets, and you need some help, selling a property or structuring a deal, these guys are great people to partner up with, because they can help you structure some stuff, but they're also good to get that thing to closing and make sure that stuff actually closes in funds, which is the most key important part.
Is getting it funded. Everybody says it'll sell itself. I could find anybody out there to work with. Yeah, but is it the right person? Is it going to close? Are you going to get to the closing table? So the company you keep and the people you work with it's huge. You pay attention. And we do use Privy.
And you'll find
we use Privy, everybody. Yeah, we use Privy. We use Privy all the time. Yeah, right. We use Privy all the time. So it's a great tool.
Yeah.
If you're not using it, then you should go find all your buyers, man. We have some situations right now where I just did it. I needed to find some buyers in this exact area. And it was so easy to do because I could just go through my little filters and click. And I'm like, oh, this guy, and this guy, they're buying land where I have an opportunity on land that's not on market. So I could already maybe pre-sell this thing to these people that know what to offer for this land, everything, because I found those buyers. And I found not just a buyer, a specific buyer that's doing ground up, that's putting a house on a lot. Because you could find buyers like, well, you bought that, but I seen what it was before and after right there. So I knew what they were buying.
Yep.
Yeah, so that helps.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we love it. Mm-hmm.
Awesome, you guys. Well, thanks again for taking the time. And again, where can people find you if they want to do business with you or connect? Where can they find you guys?
So the easiest way for me is you want to do Instagram or you want to Facebook?
Well, all my social media is my first and last name, Angie Milinazzo.
How do you spell Milinazzo?
Milinazzo. Milinazzo.
Yeah. So mine, I wasn't as fortunate. My Facebook's Dominic Milinazzo, right? But my Instagram is Dominic Milinazzo 73. I'm usually better at Facebook if you give me a message there. But if I didn't see it, do it again because I get so many that it's hard to filter through. And by the way, Benson, I want to give you kudos because you pronounced our last name correct. It's Milinazzo. That's exactly how you say it.
Awesome.
Like
I was
pizza.
wondering because I was like, wait a second, Angie's using the Z's and I was using the TZ.
Most people can't even say it even remotely right. Yeah. So Milinazzo is just what it is, but the correct way is Milinazzo. Yep. Just like pizza.
Just like pizza. Exactly.
Yep.
So easy.
Yep. Crazy Italians.
Not so pizza.
Awesome, you guys. Well, thank you again for taking the time. And you guys, thank you for watching this episode of the REI Hacker. Please go check out Dom and Angie. Just wonderful people to work with. They will help you make money. Right?
Yeah.
That's what this is all about.
It's a win-win.
Show me the money. Let's
We
go.
don't cut anybody out, man. Everybody gets paid. That's the name of the game.
Yep.
Everybody gets paid. Yeah, we'd love to see you. Hey, thanks for having us on too.
Yeah. Thank you, Benson.
Really appreciate
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time. And everybody share and like this episode and keep an eye out for really cool guests like Dom and Ange in the future. And we're going to bring in entrepreneurs and real estate agents and investors and service providers and just, showing you what else is out there, all the different angles in real estate, inspiration, and also showing you that people are out there making money and maybe you're not. So check those out and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, guys.
See you guys. Thanks.
That's a wrap on today's Real Estate Revelations. Thank you for tuning into the REI Hacker Podcast. Remember, every property has a story, and every deal is a lesson. Until next time, keep hacking the real estate world.